Saturday.
Yeah, it's a happy Saturday, happy Labor Day, because I guess Labor Day weekend, that's like a thing. I mean, how many of y'all are working this Labor Day weekend? Because I'm working tomorrow.
Work encompasses a couple things. I'll be doing a little bit of writing stuff on the side, so I guess working. I suppose so.
You do writing, Jinsu?
Not professionally, but I do. I'm working on some scripts for hopefully some content coming up in the next month or so. So very small stuff, but
okay. I know you mentioned it.
Yeah, I know you reached out about it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Listen. I got you, homie. If you have any questions on that, you let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you. Yeah. So, we're right here on the third episode of the New Head podcast. So, I mean, all things considered, I guess first thing I wanted to talk about is what are your impressions of season 3? Last time we kind of talked about, kind of going off the footage and like the patch notes and stuff. What's your first week impression of the new season?
Dude, Wild Assault is so funny.
It's really so good.
It's kind of awesome.
Like the game is very different now because some characters just if they hit, like for Chip for example, if he gets almost any hit, he's breaking the wall because of Wild Assault.
Yeah.
So that changes up the things a lot. I think that it's really good. I do really like season 3.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I feel like the changes that were done were, for the most part, very fair. Like no one apart from like maybe Zato and Mei, no one really lost. No one really lost without like gaining something, right? Like for instance, like Soul's Fafnir, it was like, you can't combo it into Vortex anymore, but now it reaches like twice as long, so now it's like just simply a neutral tool, which is like listen, I'm all about that because I felt like Soul was kind of lacking that in season 2. So, the less I have to play neutral with Soul, the better. So I think overall that's a buff.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I've really been enjoying it. I guess it's really just their Revelator patch when you think about it. This is like the Revelator patch, the game changing patch. And I don't know, it definitely made the game really interesting. And I really like what they did with Sin. They literally didn't even make him that much different fundamentally. They just made him work.
Yeah, they
like
just
his
made
combos and everything are the same and everything. I know you don't like Sin, don't you, Ogre?
I don't. I never have though. It's not just because the buffs. I just have never liked the character.
No,
I saw Sin complaining on my timeline today, and I was like, nature's healing.
Yeah, it is, man.
He's so back.
He is so back. That's how you know a character's back, and rising up from the low tiers is when is when you get all the people complaining about it on Twitter, That's when you know. It's like, all right, Sin's cooking now. And I did pretty good. I did a tournament run last week. With it was at so there's this bracket called Let's Rock Ladder. It's like it's the only Strive ladder bracket that's going on. It's the only one that came in that took off the wings from CLG Run It when they stopped. And it's a great old bracket. I love the ladder style stuff because it kind of gives me time to like, I guess, test things out in like a tournament setting without like getting 0-2'd or whatever, so it's like a really good bracket for people to go in and just like try things. And I did so much better with my Sin last week. I felt pretty good. I took a set off Squidgeluke. I felt pretty good about
nice.
that. Yeah, because I found that it actually the update actually makes it a little easier to fight Happy Chaos in the sense of like with Wild Assault, if you're in distance to Happy Chaos, you can actually Wild Assault in between the focus shots and get a hit in. Yeah. So that was kind of what I would do. I was like, all right, well, like if you're gonna zone me out, I can just use Wild Assault to put myself in, because I felt like this patch gave you a lot of tools to use against like zoner types, which I feel like was really needed, because I felt like in season 2 there was like the neutral game kind of sucked for most of the rushdown people. It felt like an uphill battle. You had to play very patiently, and in some ways you still do. But it's like now it's like, all right, you got a little more leeway. You can fuck around with Wild Assault and like just jump in there, in between like a zoner spamming you, or like or you got Blue Burst to just kind of make them stop or whatever, or make the fucking Asuka stop throwing his cubes for a minute. Some stuff like that. I mean, it's it just feels a lot more fair, to be honest. Like. Because I felt like season 2, like especially like when the season 2 changes dropped, there were just some characters that just lost things, and Soul was definitely one of those characters, and I just was not motivated to play him at all, really in season 2, because it was just like, he just kind of lost his shit, like. But now I'm playing him a lot more. Like I definitely think I'm just gonna dual main Sin and Soul, like depending on the matchup. There's some matchups I feel more stronger with Soul than Sin, and some more stronger with Sin over Soul. So it's that's sort of my strat.
Yeah, not the stepfather, the father who stepped up. I think Wild Assault and Delay Shield are not Delay Shield. What is it? Deflect Shield.
Deflect Shield.
It is very cool that they decided to tie that to the burst gauge instead of tension, because I think when a lot of us were watching that initial like teaser trailer on Evo Finals, we were like, oh, it takes 50%. Oh man, I guess now it has to compete with red RC, blue RC, PRC, etc. And then we were like, wait, we looked a little closer and it was like, did that say 50% burst?
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of us were not used to considering burst as a like a meter to be
used for other
it's a
things.
meter to be managed. Yeah, obviously an RPS around, are they going to bait the burst, etc. But it was relatively linear how you ended up using it, and especially like you're mentioning, Ember, like in certain matchups, if you're playing Rushdown versus a zoner kind of archetype and you have burst available, that's not really going to help you from the full screen, right? Like, okay, yeah, now burst is full screen for blue burst in season 3, but it's not going to help you get in. So being able to leverage that resource and to, okay, now, if they get the hit, I can't get out of this combo, but I would rather use that resource to try and get my own offense started, or at least take some space on the screen. I think it's a cool extra layer of decision making that we're getting now with the new burst options.
Yeah, and I for one like am very big on like resource meters in fighting games and like managing resources and stuff, because it's like yeah, it's like more shit to watch for, but it's also like more stuff in your toolkit, and it's better to have more than to have less. And I feel like maybe that's the lesson Arcs has kind of learned. Like let's be real. I mean, like, you look at Street Fighter 6 came out with this shiny new drive impact system, drive rush system. And let's be real. This drive rush system looks pretty damn similar. Wild Assault, like this stuff looks pretty damn similar to that. And to be honest, I think that's the best damn thing they could have done, is just copy off Street Fighter 6. Or at least take inspiration. Copying would be too strong of a word, but you know what I mean.
If they want to take inspiration from the server stability, that would be like awesome.
Oh, bro.
That would be cool. Yeah, if you could be inspired by the netcode. Well, the netcode itself was very good up until recently, and now I feel like even the casual audiences are like, I feel like I've been able to run this game in like 60 FPS for the entirety of the game's life cycle, and now I'm having lag with people that I've been playing since season 1, since the launch of the game. So I don't know if that's just particular systems or anything. So hopefully they're able to figure that out. But speaking of figuring it out, we already have a hot fix for some game breaking bugs, which is
I saw that.
pretty cool. cool. I will say the speed is very nice to see.
J2, I'm actually really pissed off about that. You want to know why?
You wanted to deflect shield a banana so bad.
No, not even worse than that. So I thought about when I saw the patch, I thought about the idea. But I had the idea of like, yo, what if we did like a Faust crash tournament where instead of first to 3, it's first to crash. The first Faust to crash the game moves on in the bracket.
Moves on.
Like,
you're so cursed.
yeah, honestly.
I thought about that and I'm like, fuck, I missed out on it. It's never.
So what is the meta in that rule set? Does everyone just item toss and that, because the banana naturally is gonna go over to the other side, right? So you don't just want to item toss, but how do you secure?
Can't you control how far the item flies up?
You cannot.
No, I don't think so.
Oh no.
No.
Okay.
You can eat them now, so you can store them for later. So maybe it's like, let me pull until it's banana peel, and then eat banana peel, go for a knockdown, and then pull. But like, I don't know, dog. I don't know the.
Yeah,
Faust
I'm not a Faust player. I don't know. I just thought it sounded funny on paper.
Funny, I agree.
First
evil, I would also agree.
That
Like just climb. But they patched that shit in like a week. They were
I'm
fast.
pretty glad.
Which, to be fair, it's like, you know, I felt like it was causing a lot of confusion on, like, the TO side of, like, oh, how do we handle this if a Faust fucking goes and deflects, she'll crash the game, or whatever. And it's like, I mean, honestly, like, some people were like, oh, should we ban Faust or whatever? My honest opinion on that is, like, I thought, like, listen, whoever's the person who crashed the game gets DQ'd.
Yeah,
make it that
like that
simple. Yeah, make it that simple. Penalize them, you know? Like,
yeah, I feel like that's a good baseline rule. I mean, it doesn't really matter now because they're gonna
it doesn't matter now. Yeah,
but you know, for situations like that in the future, I feel like it's a lot easier to say, oh, okay, if you trigger this interaction at a baseline, you're probably gonna take the game loss, because it's like the Faust is not directly responsible for putting the banana on the screen, right? It's RNG. They cannot choose what item is going to be on the screen, but the opponent or even the Faust themselves, right? Even if they accidentally, you know, jump in and then deflect shield in their own banana peel, all right, that's on you. You used 50% burst to crash the game. You know, that's how it goes. Obviously, in certain situations, like, oh, I was trying to fast fall block in the air on this air hitbox, and then my deflect shield stayed out on the banana, then it's like, okay, maybe the TO can step in if that's really what happened. But there's a particularly popular clip of you know, the deflect shield banana from Apology Man's account, where it was like grand finals of their local, and then you see Apology Man pull out the banana peel. It's on the ground for a solid like 3 seconds, and then the opponent, I think they're already like, I want to say Apology Man was already like on set.
I think he was ahead. Yeah, he was on set point. He was ahead.
Yeah, it was like 2-1 Apology Man, and then they jump into the banana. You see them jump back, delay shield into the banana, and it crashes. And they're like, listen. I guess it's a mulligan. I'm like, what do you mean it's a mulligan? That was the most premeditated shit I've ever seen.
If you know. Like, if you know your ass is gonna lose, like, listen, I'd do that.
Okay, like, true. Listen, no, I agree with the choice of the player to do it, because it was mad funny. Like, I got respect for him. I'm just saying that situation in particular, that's an easy loss for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm looking at the clip, and it's the Anji player is at set point. He's at 2-1.
Oh, really?
Wait, no
way! He still crashed the game.
I'm like, all right.
Fuck,
I've misinterpreted the clip. That's awesome. He's like, all right, move us on to game number 5. I want to see it. Restart the PS5 right now.
Restart the PS5. Is it? Wait, is Strive on PS5 now?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
they have a PS5 version.
Yeah, they have a PS5 version.
Oh, okay.
Can you also run the PS4 version on PS5?
I heard you can do that.
Before, that's what you had to do, because PS5 had more native delay, but they ended up fixing that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and I know, like, the release of the patch kind of brought up other Discourse as well, like, especially with, like, changes with Happy Chaos, because I honestly thought, so, like, I thought putting, like, modern controls in his focus shot wouldn't really be a big deal. Like, I looked at it and I'm like, that probably wouldn't really change anything on, like, high level play, right? But, like, I know it seems like it made his zoning better in a sense that like it's just more consistent. And I know there's also like kind of like some people were debating whether or not it's a glitch or not. I think it was intentional. Like I don't know where it came from, but like his concentration gauge apparently regains like kind of it regains faster than like he shoots. So like you can basically kind of keep like some infinite zoning going on basically.
Yeah,
with him.
it's season 1 zoning again.
Yeah, it's season 1 zoning.
and he has season 2 offense.
Yeah, season 1
Before,
zoning,
I
season
think
2
he was like
offense.
locked out of gaining concentration during certain actions. I don't remember exactly, but I is he able to recover focus during reload now, where he wasn't able to in
Yeah,
season 2?
that's
It's
what it
something
is.
like that,
Yeah,
right?
he's
So,
able to get focus back whenever he's reloading. When
yeah,
that
and
just
obviously
wasn't
that's like a
thing
big
before.
part of the loop, right? That's like
Yeah.
a third of the action, where normally they're not gaining any concentration back. So over time, they're draining focus on the in the long term. But now because you're able to reload during like 33% of the guard crush loop, it's like, maybe I can keep up zoning for a little bit. And then obviously you build up the meter for 50 meter. You get the
Yeah.
concentration super. You're like, yeah, I'm not gonna pull up to interact. But if I do, and then it's the fucking Virgil Marvel versus Capcom 3 like glowing eyes meme, and then they pull up with season 2 offense. So it's a little evil.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a bit. I mean what's your take on it like from the perspective of a commentator? Because it's like I felt like personally for me, like when I was doing commentary more regularly, I was so bored commentating Happy Chaos matches. Because it was almost like, what the fuck do you do? Like, it's just like, oh, they got the focus shots, they're in the corner, oh no, gonna go for the mix-up again, I don't know, like...
Yeah,
it's hard to hype that up,
I definitely agree that it's pretty difficult. I think one of the, like, I guess if you chart out like a commentator skill tree, right? Obviously the level 1, the basics are like, how do you intro a stream? How do you transition in between games and in between sets? How do you introduce players, etc., like general public speaking, like hosting stuff.
Yeah.
Layer 2, I guess layer 1 would also be like knowing the game that you're casting, at a basic level. Layer 2 is kind of like, okay, when you see the same kind of situation over and over and over again through different players or through different rounds or games, how do you differentiate or like build a story on the same thing happening? Like I was talking about this with Shino recently, who's a commentator up in Canada and a good friend, and he was like, yeah, obviously Milia, if it's not a great hit, she's going to do 2K2D into H-Disc, and you have to see this kind of looping mix or looping setup a decent amount, right? Obviously, there's other resets that Amelia can do, but that's a big situation that you'll see often that doesn't cash out into a lot of damage. So when you see it for the 8th, the 9th, the 10th time in a set, what are you going to say? Aside from, what's the mix? Are they going to go high, low, or on the other side? Like, yes, we're all aware that it's like an evil situation. So like, how do you build out the storyline of it? So I think when Happy Chaos had initially dropped, something that I was focusing on a lot was like the player-to-player differences. I think Captain Bones was one of the players who, a lot of times, like for Happy Chaos zoning, a lot of them would like stay in place, which is like fine, right? You're trying to maintain the spacing at the full screen, doing guard crush loops. Captain Bones would always do like a little micro dash in between those reps, which technically does make the gap a little longer, but it also pushes the opponent further towards their own corner, right? So even though you're zoning, you're also actively moving up to try and take space. So it's finding little details like that are unique between players who are still all playing the same really strong character and using kind of the same techniques. It's how they put their specific spin on it. I'm trying to think of like one more example. Dende is an infamous Happy Chaos player, right? Because I feel like the way Hotashi said it was like, dude, Dende is not just trying to win. They're trying to make you feel like bad about yourselves when you see that lost screen. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll pull up with like 5D shot, 5D shot, 5D shot, and then 5D RC, and you think they're gonna bait out the low, and then they'll just do 5D again. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? You could have killed like a minute and like 100-meter ago. they're having a grand old time, like, getting into the mental and like overloading your mental stack well past what would be able to kill. So it's figuring out how the players kind of express their personality through that same character.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Like, in the sense that they all have their own, I guess, approaches to doing like the same type of game plan. Um, or at least there's like variances, right?
Yeah.
So like the challenge is like trying to point that out and then like integrate that into the storytelling. You know, I mean, you're way more on the commentary grind than I.
I do speak over some games from time to time. I think if you haven't seen a bunch of different happy chaoses or different, people playing the same character, it can be hard to point out those differences because you're like, oh, this is just guard crush loops again. Like, what do you do? Like trying to think of it from the perspective of the other person. Unfortunately, sometimes what you gotta do is look at tens of hours or like hours of happy chaos play and be like, well, seen this so many times before. What is the difference this time now that, my eyes are trained on the general pattern of what's going on here?
And I know like in between all that there's been a lot of discourse of people, and I feel like this conversation happens maybe once every 6 months. People just like talking about like, oh, should there be a ban on Happy Chaos, and it's kind of funny because I'm hosting like a debate stream for it on Tuesday. Everyone thinks everyone's like assuming I'm pro ban, and that's not even true. Like like my honest opinion about it, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm like kind of neutral about it because I don't really know. Like, I don't really know too much about the character, but like something, I had a little conversation with the Symbolist about it a couple days ago, because I was thinking about it a lot, and he was like something. I don't know if I can quote him word for word on it, but like something he told me is that Happy Chaos sounds broken on paper, but trying to prove it and back it up into an argument and apply it for a ban is very hard.
Right.
Because there is still counterplay that exists. And it's not like a situation where like you got like 5 Happy Chaoses in top 8. And the one time that happened was because the entire cabal decided to go to like a small 20 person net bracket, and everyone was like, oh my god, this is why this character needs to be banned. So I don't know, like I'm genuinely I don't know, and it's kind of why I'm holding debate stream, because like I want to like have that resource out there of like, hey, this is why these like people think he should be banned, and these are why these people think that he shouldn't be banned, so that people actually have something to reference to outside of people like screaming on Twitter like, oh, ban him, fucking busted ass bitch, and then people on the other side like, y'all don't don't ban him,
Twitter is good for, okay, cool, let me see a cool tech or a funny clip out of context, and then maybe if I'm feeling particularly generous and caffeinated, I will look into the replies for the context that doesn't fit in the 256 character limit of twitter.com, right? But otherwise, 80% of people, you're waiting in line for coffee, you're in an elevator on your way up to work, you are not on twitter.com to look for, essays on the balance and counterplay of a particular character. You're there for the funny, and then as soon as that elevator door opens, you're like, all right, time to put my phone back into the pocket and like, become a Joblin again. So there is, if you'll see a lot of these clips, and then you'll think to yourself, oh wow, there's no counterplay here, like this is really evil, and this is now my opinion on the character. And then maybe, as you're scrolling later, on your lunch break, you're like, oh, now someone is saying Happy Chaos is not broken because you can do XYZ. It's just like a random, text tweet. It's like, oh, there's counterplay here. You can wild assault. Okay, when do you do wild assault? Which wild assault does that work on? Well, what point of the string are you trying to interrupt? Like, none of that info is there, but still it changes your opinion on the character without having the proper, evidence or
lab time.
Exactly. Or the lab time. So I think having, like you're saying, having that debate where it's like, okay, here is what I think about this character. Here is why. Let me explain it at length. And then people, on the other side can be like, oh, here is why I think that is invalid. Or, oh, actually, here's why I think that, that makes sense. and not being restricted to, okay, what can I fit in one tweet or like a 30-second video so that people maximize, the retweet rate and spreading it around like a meme. So, it's cool to see the long form discussion, I think.
Yeah. I think a long form discussion is it's just much more productive for that, because it's like people will put out their like 30-second takes on it, and it's like it's just not enough information. And again, like I'm completely neutral about it. Like I have no feeling one way or another, to be honest. So it's like seeing everyone I'm seeing such strong opinions about it, and especially like the people that were kind of giving me some hate for it. It's it was really interesting to see, and it wasn't something I expected. So that's gonna be interesting. But also really real quick, I did want to plug the New Head merch. We have our new fall line out. So if you wanna go on the New Head Twitter page and go through our links, we have bomber jackets now. So feel free to like click onto the New Head Twitter page and go through the links on there, and there should be a link to the merch somewhere there that you can check that all out. So there's some cool stuff in there. But anyways, yeah, like that's kind of like it's gonna be an interesting stream. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like my opinion too is like I am also of the opinion that I feel like Strive is like a borderline a Kusage. like just with how much ridiculousness there is in that game, it's like borderline a Kusage. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to say like X character should be banned when there's like all these other characters that can do crazy shit too. Freaking Nago has high-low mix-up really now. Dumb. Yeah. Like shit's just crazy now in that game. And I think that was kind of something they needed to do. I think Strive needed to put on the clown shoes a little bit,
Just a bit, yeah. I think the next patch could be a good like tune-up. Like, fix some things, nerf some things, because I knew that the balance would be a little bit out of whack with the first attempt at this, with what they're doing. So I think the next patch could be, like, awesome.
Like, no doubt, I absolutely think that, like, Happy Chaos should be nerfed. And I think, I'm not sure if it's just a situation where, like, the developers are like, oh, how do we nerf this character without it being, like, without completely neutering him, right? Because it's like they made a character that's just has really good zoning and really good mix-up, and it's like if you nerf those things about him, he kind of just falls apart. Like if you nerf his gun a lot, it could make him fall apart. As a character, and it's like you don't want to nerf a top tier all the way to the bottom tier, right? But it's just I'm just really wondering how they would actually do a nerf on Happy Chaos.
J2 accidentally clicked out of the window. He needs speaker again.
Oh shit, bro.
I just saw that message.
Why do you do that? Man? Clicking outside of the window, distracted by VTubers.
Yeah. Dude, I was looking for the New Head merch. I swear, I was trying to share the tweet to the space, and then it turned out so you can be a speaker and navigate onto different pages, but only if you're in the full screen view.
Yeah.
If you have the window like half sized, then it'll just assume you're leaving the cast, even though you're the speaker. I can't believe it. But anyway, yes, from before, the new Head Fall collection is live, so make sure to check it out. It is a shared tweet right now, so you guys can actually look at it and pop on through.
Solid. Thanks, J2 with the big work on the back end there.
But yes, anyway, now that we're back, Happy Chaos, silly, funny, nerf the gun, etc. It would be cool to keep his identity, even if they, bring him more in tune with the rest of the cast. I think I agree with Ember on that. That point.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on Johnny?
Johnny,
dude, he's sick. He's so
I think
sick.
he's very my take on Johnny. I think he's very cool, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it in the competitive scene.
So
Literally because he can't dash block.
Oh yeah,
True.
he can't dash
Actually,
block.
Yeah.
he gets
So
hard.
if
he
you,
can't
if you
dash
fight,
blocking.
if you fight like Asuka, Axel, or Happy Chaos, you're probably just gonna lose.
Yeah.
Like almost all the time.
Yeah, because dash block is kind of big in dealing with those characters.
Mhm.
I actually didn't think about that because I know, like, I mean, for me personally, I hate dealing with Johnny. Like, the counterplay for him, I guess, like, at the end of the day, I didn't think, like, oh, he's dash blocking. Maybe I could, like, get away with spamming Gunflame or some bullshit on him. You know, like, because I feel like his zoning is pretty strong with Mistfinder. Like, it goes out really fast. Like, I feel like he has, like, Testament zoning, but better. In a sense that it goes out faster. So, like, you can kind of, like, you could do like the spam zoning but worse. Because like there's so many Testaments I'll go against in rank. They'll just like spam Grave Reaper and Arbiter Sign on me, and it gets me sometimes. It does work.
Yeah.
But oh my god. So dealing with Johnny and another character, like he plays a little adjacent to Testament, I'm like, great. Another
Great, awesome.
Yeah, another ladder demon character at the face. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely like he is very strong in the mid range, being able to hold space with the Mistfinders, and then if you back off to be like, oh, okay, let me at least like space it out, then obviously that is an opportunity to put the card on the screen. And then also, you know, off of throw, you're able to set the card and get meaty close slash into high low. So he has good tools, but if he's not able to, you know, utilize them, like Ogre is saying, oh, you know, I can't get into Mistfinder range because I can't dash block. So I'm getting caught every time I try and get into range, and I'm getting shot into the sky or getting attacked by cubes or getting caught out by Arbiter Sign. And it's like, oh, okay, I can see why you might have a little bit of trouble. I also, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't tried it out myself, but I don't think Johnny is able to keep dash momentum if he does step dash into jump. I think it's just like a normal jump forward. So a lot of characters, if you hold dash, then you know you go a little bit further after you jump.
Yeah, you do.
I think the step dash just like kills the momentum for your jump afterwards. So interesting choice.
No, that is true. I mean, I didn't lap him a whole lot. I lapped him for like maybe 30 minutes, and I'm like, it's like
maybe not for you, not your style.
He looks cool. I don't know. It's just I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I'm just like allergic to zoner shit.
I'm allergic to zoner.
Like I don't know what it is. It's like I'll try and pick
mid-range
him up.
options.
Yeah, I'm like nah, this ain't me, bruh. I'll try like. I need my characters to just be unga bunga. Listen, I need a character that punches or does some cool shit. You know, so basically how my playstyle has been described is all gas, no brakes. Like I'll hold the dash macro and just like fucking go to town, and whatever happens from there is all fate, you know. And I mean it gets me. It works sometimes, but it's just like when I go against zoners, it's like, well, fuck me, I guess, you know.
So, you gotta be patient against them.
Yeah, and that's hard for me. Like
you gotta channel your inner Snake Eyes.
True. Just walk forward for
just
like 80% of the game menacingly.
Yeah, I gotta get on that Zen shit. Like I don't know.
Yeah, meditate mid-match.
Yeah, meditate mid-match.
Just be like, I am not
bring
entitled
out the
to
Ryu
buttons
energy
in the video game. All I am entitled to is the movement of my character. Holds forward, gets hit by guard crush shot. You're like, wait. This isn't how it was supposed to be.
Also, Ogre. I was sad. You ducked me in Celestial yesterday.
That's because I was setting up my stream stuff.
So I
had to say no.
You could have gate kept me and said someone else gate kept me. So I forget. Oh no, it was an Anji that gate kept me. I was like, I was 1-to-1 with him. I was like really close to taking another set off of him. It was literally like it's one of those games where it was like every single round you both are like at like a nick of health, and it's like those matches are fucking tight. And like
just barely
I won,
the pixel.
Yeah, I won like I think I lost one against someone else. And I went 2 against him, and then I lost the last one, which lost me my celestial challenge. So that sucked. But I mean, there's always more chances to go back. I find that the celestial challenge is so whack in the sense of like, listen, you could just go in there and like find a matchup you're good against, or like find someone who's lower level that you can bully, because even though like the lower level doesn't really dictate like what their skill level is, it does dictate like, oh, how much time has this person played this character,
Right.
So yeah, there was that. I don't know. I find like with fighting games, I have like really strong like winners and losers momentum. Like if I start off a session and I got like 1 or 2 really good wins, like the rest of the session I'll do like really fucking good. But if I start losing, it's like a momentum thing where it's like I start losing more and more and more. It's like a mental thing that happens to me a lot. And I noticed it does happen to me in tournaments too. Like there was one time a month ago. It was like a month ago this happened. I competed in fight sticks and flash kicks. And I remember I took like 17th out of like 50, and I was only taken down by CPU and Kid Dracula, because it was like I was just going ham, because I was just winning sets left and right. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'm in it. But like if I like start off with a loss, it's like that momentum's so hard to break. I don't know what it is. Like, do you experience that, Ogre? As like a competitive player, like do you feel like a momentum with winning or losing?
Momentum, yeah, I think momentum is a very big thing. I usually am fine whenever I go into the loser side. It depends, honestly. Like something I've learned is just like some days you cook.
Yeah.
Like some days you cook, some days you don't. Like there was like there was the day I entered TNS because Marvello told me to. I was like, all right, I guess I'll try this. I'll enter TNS. Why not? And I got second. Yeah, so that, and then I think the time before that, I got like 7th or something. Like I don't know. There's some days that you just murder everyone that you find, and then some days you just play bad. It happens.
Well, I think that's also just something that comes in with like when it comes to games that are like very RPS heavy like that. It's just sometimes you just simply lose the RPS,
that is also true.
You choose rock and they chose fucking paper, like and that's something that's always like really hard when it comes to like evaluating your skill. Jitsu, did you click out again?
his audio went out, so he had to request again.
Okay, this time it was intentional. I promise. I was like, Ember was like mid-sentence, and I was like, oh, that's weird that she just stopped talking, and then I saw the audio waveform still going. I was like,
this guy
maybe it is on my end.
Yeah, maybe.
But
no, like I definitely get no momentum, but I guess it's like something when it comes to like the mental in fighting games. It's so important to just keep in mind, like, hey, sometimes you just lose the RPS. Sometimes you just lose the rock paper scissors, and like you can't really like say like, oh, I'm bad. Of course, there's always more to improve on, but like that's something I like. I always have to remind myself, especially with a game like Strive that's so like heavy on that.
Right.
Like I feel like it's so. I think in many ways, like I think a lot of people were expecting like with the season 3 changes, or like especially like every patch, it seems like they were reducing the damage in Strive. But I feel like in this patch, like while they reduce the damage scaling, you're still doing about as much damage because it's just taking into account the shit you do with Wild Assault.
Yep.
Combos are like so much longer now because of it.
It does feel.
Dude, positive bonus is available for everyone in the cast at all times. It is so wild with Wild Assault.
Oh yeah. No, that's so solid.
the offense this patch is kind of insane because I mean, Wild
Mhm.
Assault, whenever you break the wall, it gives you a hard knockdown.
Yep.
And something I learned is that if you're in positive bonus and then you break the wall, it resets your positive bonus timer.
Oh my god.
So you can just keep it going, like especially with me as Chip, I can just there's some rounds where I just am in positive bonus pretty much the entire time.
Jesus.
And Chip positive bonus is awful.
It's yeah, yeah.
So
It's evil.
I would say all in all, Chip had some buffs this patch.
Yeah, I think he got. It's funny because I mean, you look at the patch notes. His Rekka counter hit that's gone. 6K is slower. Was that it? 6K slower. Rekka counter hit's gone.
Yeah,
Oh, and his JH also. His JH got nerfed, so it's easier to anti-air.
Mm.
But with the system mechanics, I think he got buffed.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting how it's this patch is so like more than meets the eye with that, right? Because it's like you'll see like the changes on a character and it's like, oh, this character got fucking nerfed, man. But then like you see the shit they pull off with Wild Assault or like with Gold Burst, and it's like, well, that's not true.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a completely different game, you know. And a lot of people have to kind of approach it that way. You know, I know a lot of people were quick to point out like, oh, this character got nerfed, this character got got buffed, and I was one of those people. But but no, it's just kind of interesting how dynamic these character changes are. You know, it's not just, oh, this character got nerfed, this character got buffed, like it has been the past couple patches, and we can all like go on Twitter and bitch about it. Now it's like, oh well, did they really get nerfed?
Yeah, did they really
and
get
someone
nerfed?
puts out a clip of like some crazy Wild Assault shit. You know?
Yeah. So when you're considering changes from patch notes, like obviously you're going down to your character or a character that gives you trouble, and you're like, okay, let me see the character specific changes, right? Oh, okay, it's buffs. Oh, okay, it's nerfs. But it's always important to make sure you at least take a gander at those system mechanics changes, especially when they're as big as, okay, added Wild Assault, added deflect shield. But you know, I think a similar time that we had seen this, like, oh, okay, this character hasn't gotten changed. All right, whatever. When faultless defense got buffed across the board, so using less meter and then also increasing the pushback for a lot of characters, especially the strike throw shenanigans, it made it a lot more difficult to, you know, keep up pressure and stay in that zone when their opponent is able to leverage meter in a lot more efficient of a way to get out of there, right? So okay, one FD is enough to get you out of range versus like, oh man, it took like FDing 2, 3, 4 moves, which took so much more of your meter. So it's kind of the same thing with Wild Assault, right? Oh, this character got nerfed. Okay, but now they have access to wall break and positive bonus and hard knockdown because of Wild Assault. So who is that more strong for? Who is that more important for? Is the real question you have to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know like yeah, it's just I just think it's funny that a lot of people don't really account for the system changes. Like I feel like a lot of people kind of glance over the universal changes.
Yeah.
And I've kind of done that too. You know, because it's like, oh, universal changes. This applies to everyone, so it puts everyone on an equal playing field. But no, that's not true because it affects every character differently based on the frame data and whatever bullshit they're working with. You know, like I think the first thing everyone pointed out was like, oh, Blue Burst, you can use that against Happy Chaos. That's Happy Chaos counterplay. You know,
yeah, little did they know. Do they know?
Little.
Yeah, I don't think that does much.
It did not.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't really do that much against zoners either. I guess it just keeps the pressure off you for like a quarter second. Yeah.
Yeah, burst this patch it's different. It's like I mean, it goes full screen, and it's now blue burst is only like a -7 or something. It's a lot less minus than it was. So sometimes what happens is I'll bait the burst, and then I don't get a punish because they recovered in time.
Yeah, you're like locked into the animation. It's very interesting.
And then gold burst is now it's safe on block as it's only -2.
Which is insane. Very very interesting change.
Yeah.
Very...
Yeah, What about you, J2? Have you been like entering any brackets since season 3 started, or have you been just kind
Not
of on the
too
commentary
many.
grind?
I've been trying to study up quite a bit. So there's just so many
Mm,
changes that I feel like, yes, playing it from my perspective is like important to, brush up on commentary and see how things feel from the player side. But also like I only play a couple characters at most. So being able to, just train my eyes on it and see how other people interpret it, like what parts of it I'm missing, is
yeah.
pretty important. But I am trying to, of course, run casual sets with homies just to get used to the new systems from that first person view as well.
Yeah. And do you feel that like is stronger? Because I know like you're in that
Dude,
game.
she's so funny this patch. Mad love Agitaro. So that is the advancing guard crush move that puts her like
Oh,
plus a
dude.
million
Yeah.
from like
Yeah.
half screen. Technically, it's like 26 frames. It is quote unquote reactable. But the
Hmm.
thing about it is the startup animation itself, like how it's animated, is pretty deceiving. So she obviously, as soon as you put in the input, it gets off the ground, but it looks very similar to hover dash, and it also starts off very slow and then just accelerates out of the gate. So
Yeah.
it's tricky to try and keep track of, and then it leads into high low mix up situations. So it's pretty scary. And also with Wild Assault, she has access to more hard knockdowns without necessarily needing to have that extra 50-meter in the bank, but everybody else also has Wild Assault. So
Yep.
burst becomes even more important for her to have to get out of those checkmate situations. So she has cooler tools now, which makes her capitalize better on getting that first opening. Though I think she is still kind of a feast and famine character where it's like, okay, now if her opponent gets the first knockdown, they have more tools to convert it into a better situation as well. So more volatile is what I'd say.
Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
word for it.
Yeah.
Volatile.
Yeah, no,
But she
definitely.
is mad funny though. I will say she's so awesome, dude.
Yeah. No, you're gonna be cooking. You're gonna be cooking.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a net buff?
I would say so. It feels more, I just said volatile, right? But
Yep.
consistent off of getting that first hit, but volatile in general, like navigating to that first
Yeah.
interaction.
Yeah. But I'll say this, like I know going into another topic,
Hmm.
I want to talk about freaking Honda's horrible hootenanny. Did
Oh yeah,
either
how'd
of
that
you two
go?
watch it?
Oh god.
Okay.
I got bits and pieces.
Oh
That
no.
that tournament. So first of all, I was so fucking nervous running it.
Hmm.
'Cause I'm
There were
like,
quite a few people, yeah.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? I got
Yeah.
like 317 people signed up for this tournament. What am I gonna
Mhm.
do? And the TOs, I mean, they were confident. They were confident, but it was like, oh shit, how are we gonna have these TOs wrangle all these people?
Yeah.
And it turned out like, going through pools was a mess. It was a mess because
I
it was
imagine,
like,
yeah.
so
There's a lot of
basically it was
people.
like, yeah, it was a lot of people. So the thing that made it difficult for the TOs was
Mhm.
not necessarily the amount of people as much as it was just the amount of bargains and cheats you had to keep
Yeah,
track
the amount of
of.
random shit you
Yeah.
gotta do.
Yeah,
all
we're
that
gentlemening
random
to
I
Pokemon
think-
Showdown. It's like, all right, I love
like
that for you,
J2,
bestie.
I think this was the happy chaos only bracket on crack. Because
Yeah,
it
I
was
believe
like,
it.
it was way worse. It was way worse for the TOs
I
to run
believe it, yeah.
because it was like, okay, we got to keep track of this, we got to keep track of that, and this player
Mhm.
is challenging everyone to Pokemon Showdown. Okay, we got to keep track of
Mhm.
that one, and this player is challenging everyone to Connect 4, and and this player is playing JP, saying that he's old E Honda. Okay, like. And
It's a little unhinged,
It's
yeah,
so
I agree.
dumb.
it was so dumb, and that person made it to Grands, by the way.
Oh
And
my god,
it
what
was-
the hell do you
it-
mean? How did he get that far?
He's
I mean,
old
JP. I
Honda.
think JP is an advantageous matchup against E Honda, from what I understand.
I would imagine.
But
yeah.
also, it was like they made it to Grands, and it was funny because like everyone in top 8, because when I was streaming top 8, everyone in chat was
Yeah.
like, "Fuck this JP guy! This guy's cheating, whatever." And it's like, of course, that's the whole tournament.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, and I think our sponsor, literally, SGF Devices,
Yep.
check them out, good shit. They came in and they were like, "Listen, I'm gonna give every TO $20 to force this person to play E Honda in grand finals."
What the hell, dude?
And you want to know? You want to know the plot twist?
Yeah, how'd it go?
They were a master level E Honda.
Oh my god, they weren't even
time.
bad as a character. What
Yeah.
the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Wait, that's funny as fuck, actually.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. 1 second, my dog's barking.
All good.
Alrighty. God, yeah, I remember seeing someone in that. They got like 13th without even playing a set or something.
Which is insane. Yeah, the post Honda's Hootenanny tweets were like, dude, what happened?
Yeah, it was. So I'm back. So basically, it was like there was that shit going on. There was again, there were people playing Connect 4, there were people playing Pokemon Showdown. Oh yeah, so whenever Pokemon Showdown come on, apparently there was multiple people trying to do Pokemon Showdown. It was like there was a Pokemon Showdown Cabal, and it was like I remember whenever it would come up on stream, because it came out in a lot of stream matches for whatever reason. Everyone would be like, "What the fuck is this? This is supposed to be an E Honda tournament. This is I hate this. I hate this." And I'm like, listen. If one of you guys drops like 5 subs, I will stop it right now. I got 5 subs like 2 minutes later. I'm like, all right, it's over.
It's over. No, I'm allowed to do that.
More Honda.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
Lord.
it was just chaos. It was just chaos, honestly. And like I don't know if y'all saw the setup pictures.
I saw a couple. I saw the controller.
Yeah, there was one controller. They did the fucking They took the submarine controller, the one that like sank with this. Yeah, it was like one of those.
You're kidding.
And he like chopped it up, and he chopped all the buttons out and replaced the buttons, the face buttons, with crayons.
That is
with crayons.
And it was like there was 3 broken ones, and then there was one whole one. And there was a drawing he pasted on the bottom of it that said that, like the E Honda meme of like, "Oh, I saved you the red one, the red crayon."
Oh my
or whatever.
god.
And what's funny is that the one complete crayon on that face button was a red crayon, and I'm like, "Yo,
oh my god.
this person paid attention to detail so good with it." I had to choose them as like the winning controller, the winning
That's
worst
godlike.
controller. Yeah, because I'm like,
they had the lore.
They had the lore. They had the lore. And then you have the submarine controller for added like, topicalness. Like it's like, "Oh, that's good. That's good." And then best setup or worst setup rather. This dude had so it was really funny. You know how like on Twitter, like if you get a bunch of responses and you scroll to the bottom and it's like, "Oh, see more," and you get like the worst shit imaginable.
Yeah.
It was literally I was getting a bunch of those in the bottom, and it literally warned me like, "Listen, these posts might be offensive." Like it actually warned me.
God.
And I'm like, "The fuck is this?"
It gave you a content warning?
Yeah. And then I go in there, and so the guy had he took a Grinch mask.
Oh my god.
He cut a hole in it for a cardboard box. So he created.
I don't know if I like where this is going.
He basically created a Google like VR cardboard thing, and he put his phone in there. Streamed his Street Fighter 6 game to his phone.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, I could get immersed in it," and then he. And it gets better. So he took a Madagascar racing wheel, and for like a Madagascar Wiimote racing wheel, he connected his Wiimote to his computer, and he programmed not the analog controls. He programmed motion controls. For E Honda in Street Fighter 6.
What the hell, dude?
How do you even do that?
I thought that was
I'm
fucking
impressed.
legendary.
Yeah,
it was legendary. Like the lengths that people went to like fucking do shit with that bracket was was probably like the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. There also was someone who built an E Honda shrine. That was kind of cool.
A shrine for Honda.
Yeah, a shrine for Honda.
Oh no.
That is awesome derogatory.
Yeah, it was definitely awesome derogatory. And and a lot of it was just like either people like posting stuff in like cursed rooms, like messy rooms, or like there was one dude, he literally commented, he was like he basically had like 3 monitors and he just like buffed up the contrast so the contrast looked terrible on it.
What
and he was
the
like,
hell?
And he was like, oh yeah, he's like, by the way, for the picture, I threw some trash around in the room, so just to give it a little extra detail. And I'm like,
a little flair,
dude. Yeah, the dude trashed his
room
to fucking submit it for the contest.
For the content,
so,
no,
yeah,
the kids are content brained. What have we done?
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good, dude. Like, if you take a moment to go through that thread on the new head page, ooh, there is good shit in there.
I might be worse off after having done it. I'm a little scared.
Yeah, no, it's there's some content. There was also like 2 times where there were feet pics in there, but that's
no,
yeah, there's foot content in there. Yeah.
Oh
Rippers,
god.
dude.
Yeah, no, it was something. But it was a crazy ass tournament. It ran a lot smoother top 8 onwards, which I was thankful for, because I'm like, all right, we got some content out of this. Because there was many times like going through pools where it was like we would stream like, because it was first to one, it would last like a minute, and then like we would have 15 minutes of dead air. Yeah, it'd be 15 minutes of dead air, and we're like, fuck, you know. So we did not get much of pools, but we got all of top 8, so that was solid. Yeah, but my god, what a tournament that was.
I can imagine on the streaming end, it was definitely a logistical interesting moment, right? Because now you have to hook into Pokemon Showdown. You gotta stream a coin flip, all the random shit.
Yeah, and there were so many people. Chatting. It was really hard to keep up with. We had like I think at the highest we had like 500 people watching it. But
damn.
Like, yeah, it was crazy.
Lord.
And it was funny as shit because I'm like, you know, I mean, I did it something as just purely for fun because it was like. I don't know. Like, when I look back to, like, when I would run tournaments frequently, the most fun I ever had was running that Happy Chaos bracket.
No,
like,
that's cursed.
The Happy Chaos bracket.
Yeah.
That was so cursed.
Yeah, it was so cursed, and it was so good. And I'm like, that was the most fun I ever had. That was the most fun I ever had running a tournament. So I'm like, oh, let me just do something similar for Street Fighter 6. I'm sure I'm probably only going to get, like, 40 people signing up. And like maybe 70 average viewers for it, which is fine.
Only.
But then like,
definitely.
But then it went up to like 300-ish signups and a whole bunch of people watching. So it was fun. I think the thing with those tournaments is that it appeals to like the casual audience more. Yeah. You know, and that audience is pretty big when you think about it. I guess maybe it wasn't as big in Strive because like there isn't that much of a casual audience with Strive. As there is with like what you'd think with Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, it just has so much like household name property, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it was retweeted. It was retweeted by Maximilian, dude.
Oh yeah, that I'm sure helps at least a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was solid. But that was a tournament. I want to do more tournaments like it, but it's like because there was people like Rufo Marner posted a video about it, and there was a lot of people who were like, oh. There's got to be more of this, and there were some people who were even like, "Oh, you should do this as like a weekly," and it's like there's so much planning that goes into that. There's so much planning and so much, and it's like if you run like the same rule set every week, then it's like, oh, it's just another weekly.
It loses the novelty.
Yeah, it loses the novelty. So it's like you gotta like you gotta have those standard brackets running in between. Like I think it's something like I would probably do like maybe 4 times a year. Like once a quarter,
every so
once
often.
A quarter, you cleanse. You know, you cleanse.
The quarterly check-in,
yeah, the quarterly cleanse, maybe, but hard to say. I mean, I've had a whole bunch of cursed tournament ideas in the back of my mind. Like I mentioned with the Faust tournament, that would have been
first
fun.
To crash.
First to crash.
That would have been really funny.
Arxis saved us from that tournament.
Yeah,
Thank you or disparage Arxis in the comments if you guys wanted to see it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, Arxis on top of that, but God, the server issues.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I think so. For me, I found that going on quick match, going on quick play or whatever, it almost eliminates it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like granted, the net play experience can still be questionable, but like in turn, like you're not getting the cab errors, you know, like the cab errors and stuff like that. Yeah, that like I've ran into a few times.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's the thing that always holds me up from getting matches. But
I will say, nice little quality of life feature. The home screen 1-button shortcut. You can just set it to whatever mode you want. I have it on training mode right now. You can set it to quick start.
Oh, there's a 1-button shortcut.
You could set it to arcade mode if that's what you're really about in Guilty Gear Strive. Yeah. So it's
I didn't
nice.
know. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's very new.
So
it's at the top left of the screen. What's it called? So it's already there at the top of the screen, I think, for quick match. But you can change that from quick match to whatever game mode you just want to have on X. So you can only set one of them, but I don't know, it's still pretty good. I think online and player matches are pretty easy to get to because now the game starts in the online like menu.
Yeah,
so you can just let's
be real. That's where everyone is 90% of the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I have it in training because it's a little further out to get to, and it's like, okay, if it's right there, 1 button away, then I have no excuse after I log off of online to not lab against stuff I was getting hit by. So that's what I choose. You guys can choose whatever game mode is most convenient for you, and it's right there. So nice little change.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure how to feel about like the new menu because it's like I like the layout of it. Like the layout is much better, and in a sense of like, oh, I'm not clicking from this menu to this menu to this menu. But also it's like I find the full screen screenshots that like transition left and right to be a little distracting.
They're a little noisy, yeah.
Yeah, a little noisy. Like that's really my feedback on it, really. But other than that, it's solid. It was.
Yeah, if it were a static background picture of Honda, it'd be fine. But like, this is a little much.
It was unexpected. I mean, because it was like no, they never talked about, oh, we're gonna change the start
like a menu update.
It was just kind of like. I remember like when VSF started and people were like, "Oh, new menu." At first, I thought people were like capping, and then like,
I thought people were jump scaring me with like a shitty Photoshop, and then I was like, "Oh, it's real."
Yeah,
it was real.
Yeah, like the fucking the people that would Photoshop bullshit, like the like I remember like when I was younger, like the fucking like people would try and Photoshop like. Oh, this is the PS3 controller.
Yeah.
I remember like you had like the banana, like the little like banana controller ass shit. Yeah.
Dude, speaking of spreading misinformation, I am still thinking about the Axel debacle. Axel's moves are all shorter. That was so funny.
Well, there was a few because there was also like the you mentioned this last week, Ogre, about the shuriken. People were saying, "Oh, his shuriken's faster. His shuriken's faster, guys."
It's literally the same. It's literally the same. I knew it. I looked at them side by side. I'm like, it's literally the same.
Yeah. These motherfuckers don't know how to laugh.
Yeah, and I know like, oh my god, I know like with Sin, I remember like SauceQ posted like a list of changes, and people were thinking he was way more buff than he actually was.
Yeah.
Like
some of some of the change lists, like the what's it called, the DIY change lists, half of them they'd be like spreading around, and then someone would ping and just be like, half of this list is not correct. It's like, oh, which ones aren't correct? I don't know. It's like, what do you mean? How do you know they're wrong then?
I did make my own I did like make my own crazy. Yeah, I did do that for the content, of course. I have to pull that up because I want to see how much misinformation was spread. Because I contributed to that heavily. Let me see where the fuck. Because it was like I would see what was on there, and like people were like, "Oh, Ember, you should look into this. You should look into this." And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "That's interesting." And let's see, there was that. Where the fuck? I made a list. Oh yes. So there was a list of nerfs and buffs. Okay, so new combo routing, of course. Yeah, Kai Keisuke faster far slash and 5H. That was pretty much true. Stun Dipper nerf is slower. I think that was true. That ended up being true.
Yeah.
Potemkin, forward Mega Fist no longer -2 tumbles on hit and sets up for Garuda Oki. Flick is faster and can combo on 6k if it hits. Is Flick faster?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
Good ass question.
5p hits Crouchers, that's true. 2k is faster. I don't know if that's true. Reduced Pop Buster recovery. Soul, oh my god, my only notes for Soul, no changes to Heavy Mob Cemetery. It was weird. It was weird.
Damn.
No one was making notes on Soul there. Like, I remember, like, no one was really labbing Soul in VSF.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
I think it took until like day 2 for people to start,
Yeah, it was weird. And like almost no one labbed Jacko.
Yep.
Like no
Metro
one
was so sad. He was
gave...
like, guys, come on, please. I know you don't know how to lab this character, but at least like boot her up in the character select screen. I beg of you.
Yeah, like no one it was like no one cared. Let's see. People were saying that May got gutted, which was kind of true. Giovanna 214 kid is not hard knockdown. Oh yeah, Chip. Yeah, Shuriken is faster with more block stun. That's what people were saying. Can you imagine?
True.
Yeah,
Not true at all.
Yeah,
the move is still useless.
People were saying that Gamma Blade was slower.
Also not true.
Yeah.
Also not true.
Also not true.
Yeah. Let's see. Rekka combos now. Or was it people were saying that Rekka 2, like, what was the change with the Rekkas?
The counter hit. There's no like big counter hit from Rekkas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and people were confused about that because some people were saying, "Oh, it doesn't combo anymore," or it doesn't combo into Rekka 3 or whatever. And then there wasn't a lot on Happy Chaos either. Could still focus shot, reload, and block burst. Viking Yozansen more minus, but launches into a soft knockdown. More risk, more reward. Let's see. What's the biggest misinformation? I think the biggest was Axel.
The biggest?
Yeah.
No, that's one. Another was Faust.
The item toss quote unquote changes.
Item toss was supposedly 9 frames faster, which would have been huge, and it's the exact same.
It's so silly, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, and oh yeah, so this was a sin. This was a sin changes the list. Yeah, it was like, oh yeah, Beak Driver has a shorter hitbox. I fucking wish. Like, that wasn't true.
Wait, you mean hurtbox, right? You want it to be longer, but with a shorter hurtbox, right? That's what you mean?
I think so. Yeah. Shorter, shorter
I'm just making sure. I'm like, wait. Why you want it to be shorter for your boy Sin? Hold on now. Don't do him dirty like this.
And people, and they were saying, they were saying his elk hunt travels less but has faster startup. That's not true. People were saying that his 5p has a better hitbox and launches on hit. Literally didn't change. And they said his hoof stomp was slightly faster, which I think that was, unless I'm mixing up with the overhead.
I have no clue.
They were saying his 2S has more block stun, which that wasn't true. They were saying his JD had faster startup. That wasn't true.
People cannot lab.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I think that's something that VSF did like reveal though. Is like most people, like, if you give them a game without like outside resources, they're not gonna know how to lab it day one. Like, even if it's a game you're familiar with, you're not really gonna know everything about a character day one. It's impossible. Like it's not like we're all like video game coder hacker people that could just like, let's pull up unless there was an option where you could see the hitboxes. But I think even then there would still be misinformation.
I wish. I need these damn hitboxes.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do it. Because I know Street Fighter 6 did it, and I know like I know like a lot of other games do it.
Is Street Fighter 6 in game or was that a mod? I forget.
No, it's in game.
I know there was a mod going around.
There is a mod where you can physically see it, but like there is obviously like the meter that shows you like the frames and everything.
Oh yeah, frame meter is so good, dude.
I need that to just be in like every fighting game from now on.
That's what I'm saying. They added it to Idle Showdown recently. I was like, damn, if they can do it, Arxis, what's good?
I remember I got to interview with a fighting game dev of a game. I forget what it was called. Oh, it was Umbral Core. I got to interview the devs of Umbral Core once, and like they gave me a lot of insight on like what the mindset is behind like the development of fighting games. And I asked them because like they had a mode like in training mode you can legit just see all the hitboxes as you put them out, and I'm like, how come? I asked them, I was like, how come not every single fighter does this? Like, how come not every dev does this? And, like, their answer to it was that, like, it's more of, like, a traditional thing. Because, obviously, this wasn't, like, a big thing in the past. But, like, a lot of people, like, I guess a lot of devs had the mindset of, like, oh, if we make these hitboxes, like, you know, public in our game, it will show too much of our backend. You know, it will show too much of, like, I guess... the back end of the game for like I don't know if it's necessarily for like other devs to reference off of or what, but like it's like a weird thing where it's like they think it's showing too much of the game, or at least like showing too much of what's behind the game.
Yeah, I can imagine it from like a presentation perspective. It's like, oh, I don't want you to see under the hood because it might undermine the perceived quality of our game. But that being said, the players who are playing it are like, no, like this increases the quality in my brain because I don't have to finagle some weird GitHub download, hope that it's not a virus just to download a hitbox viewer, you know?
Yeah.
Very useful.
Yeah.
There was also something like that a long time ago with Mortal Kombat 9. When like there was like a guidebook or something. Oh. And they intentionally like they wrote down in it, they're like, we intentionally didn't put frame data anywhere because we want you guys to figure it out.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it's like listen, the community will figure it out one way or another. That's the whole thing. Is like it's like people will like you look. So I don't know if y'all know, but like something I love doing. So the Dustloop wiki actually has their own Discord server, where like people work like do all their research and work on. So you can actually it's kind of like a big reference. It's like a live reference book of like where they're getting their information and everything from, and it's like it's so cool watching them work through this shit. Like, you know, day one something drops. Because it's like they're in it, like, and it's so active. Like, I mean, even now, like I'm looking at general discussion, and it's like there's still a lot of active conversations going on right now. Like you can see the process of like, oh, hey, this is how we figure this out. This is how we figure that out. You know, and it's a lot of fact checking back and forth, like aggressive fact checking. They're definitely very big on like you know, the quality of the stuff they put out. Which I mean, hey, Dustloop is a hella good resource. I cannot compliment that enough as a resource. But no, I think that's something a lot of people don't know about Dustloop is like there is actually a wiki. You can see, like you can kind of see under the hood of like how the website is built. You know, which is it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Like the finding the invite for it's a little difficult. I don't know if you can find it on the Disloop website. I think I remember I found it on the Guilty Gear subreddit. It was like on the side where it said Discord servers, and like one of them was like Disloop, and I'm like, huh. So I joined it just out of curiosity, and I just kind of have it there. It's like oh, you know, maybe I wanna peek at how this is working, you know, behind the scenes. Like how are they doing on Johnny or whatever, you know. It's pretty cool for that. But I remember other things with VSF. Oh yeah, they said that Sin 6P is faster. That literally never changed. And I remember with Nago, they were so focused on his 6HS guard crush and didn't even like put the 2 and 2 together that he had high-low mix-up.
Yeah, they didn't figure that out until like 2 days later or something.
Yeah. And yeah, Axel was definitely like the biggest misinformation. They said he had bigger dead zones, less distance on his normals. Like they were saying he was gutted. they were saying he was completely gutted, and he said his 2S had more blocks done, JD faster startup. Oh no, that's Sin changes. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, bigger dead zones, less distance on normals, and his normals are faster. Like they were saying his normals came out faster, but were much shorter. And it's like that wasn't even true at all. We all got collectively gaslit on the Axel thing. I don't know. Was that do you think they did that intentionally just to like debate or not?
I really don't know. I don't know how you see that video and they're like, oh yeah, the normals are shorter. And
I would chalk it up probably to the angle of the video because everyone's like crowded around. I think it was like 2 or 3 setups that had the new patch. So
yeah,
they were probably thinking like, oh yeah, we'll all record, and then they looked at the video. It's like, doesn't it look shorter here? It's not. It's not, my lord. But I can understand why you might have thought that because of the angle the video was taken.
Yeah. And that was really I think that was really the biggest misinformation was biggest with like Axel and with Sin and Nago. Like they were saying like because they were just it was definitely like a case where people were just either overestimating or underestimating changes. Like people saying that like, oh, Sin's got all these buffs, Sin's gonna be so powerful, but really they just kind of tweaked his frame data just to make shit connect more, you know. And like with Nago, people were like, oh my god, he guard crushes now, but they didn't focus on like his high-low mix-up changes. And with Axel had almost no changes, and they were making up shit like, oh, his attacks are shorter now. And it's like
gotta spread some misinformation.
The biggest shit ever. But I mean, the rest of it wasn't too bad. Now, come to think of it, but it was definitely like there was definitely a few characters people were just like not labbing right or not knowing the character and just saying like, oh, this looks shorter, so it is.
Yep, you know, so it is. You gotta believe
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. But that stuff's really interesting.
It was just that whole pre-patch time was just it was something.
It was fun. It was fun. I think they waited too long to release the patch notes, but I think it was fun. Like I think if they released the patch notes like right after the tournament instead of letting like misinformation float around and people like I remember Valor was so like doom about Leo. He was like, "Oh my god, Leo's nerfed. Leo's nerfed, guys. Leo's nerfed." And then like because they were all focused on his EP, but they didn't realize, oh wait, he has more Oki that can put him to back stance. So like he can literally combo one of his. I think he can literally combo one of his like normal moves into like back stance now with like the pillar move. So it's like, okay, no, you actually overall had a big buff. You were just concentrating on this one nerf and thinking he's like busted. You know, so
everything in context.
Yeah, there was definitely Leo players were like nail biting up until the actual release of the patch. For sure. Like, I remember I asked Razzo about Leo's changes, and she was like, oh, you know, like, yeah, you know, they don't look too good. Like this was after VSF, and she was like, yeah, you know, it doesn't look too good, but like, but I'm sure he'll actually do a little better with the new systems, and I mean, her predictions were pretty much right on the mark there. You know, I think he's a better character overall easily. But yeah, going into another topic though, because there was something that like really confused me. So there's a comment I've been seeing like a lot, or not necessarily a lot, but like I see this comment like enough times that I make a note of it. What is up with like Strive players hating on like Smash players? Where does that come from?
I don't know. I don't.
I cannot say for sure. I would assume it's just like a difference in culture and the way a lot of a lot of terms are phrased like, oh, we don't have frame data, we just have like the shield bubble, whatever. I think it's just like a lack of understanding probably on both sides, like, oh, this is not the type of game I play, so it's cringe. I would imagine that's probably it.
Yeah, that is probably honestly the TLDR of it. I mean, usually like when I think about the reason why something is the way it is, usually it's like if you think about the stupidest reason why it is the way it is, that's usually the right reason. I typically find like, oh yeah, it's just people. Oh, like people like something I don't like, that I don't enjoy. Those people are bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Cause I don't know, like I grew up with Smash. Like I was playing like Smash 64 back in the day. That game slapped, I wish there was more like Smash 64 tournaments, but I guess that game's like really like, I guess I don't even know. I can't even say Kusage because it's not intentional. I know there's something about Smash 64 that makes it like really busted, but no, that's no, it's just that was just a thought I had in my mind. But it's probably just a stupid reason there. But yeah, I think we're at about the hour and a half mark, and I know Jatsu, you got stuff to do today, don't you?
I do, unfortunately.
You got the big busy Jatsu schedule.
I wish, I got a couple errands to run.
Are you doing any commentary this week?
What am I doing? So I will be busy on Monday. So more details on that coming in just a little bit. I'm gonna be commentating. There's a small like HoloLive EN fan server, so they're also doing a little like debut, Idol Showdown bracket as well. And I think Sunday I'm chilling. So hopefully see you guys either later for Idol Showdown or Monday for some Strive commentary. And otherwise, you guys can keep up with me at Jaytsu, JAYTSU_ over here on Twitter.com.
What Strive brackets are you commentating now?
What am I doing generally? So 9 moons for the most part. I've done a little bit of the NA Wanted series, which is cool. I like that we have that now.
Yeah.
And then whatever brackets pop up here and there.
All right. And Ogre, what do you got going on this week? I know you're streaming a lot.
Yeah, that's really it. I just been streaming more.
What brackets are you running?
I'm most likely going to be in 9 moons today.
Yo.
That's really all I got. I'll probably be in TNS on Monday as well. But yeah.
Solid,
that's really
solid.
all I've got planned.
Solid. And I know for myself, I got the Happy Chaos, the Great Happy Chaos debate going on Tuesday. Yep. That'll be fun. Which I didn't realize this. I believe that's when fucking Starfield officially comes out. So
oh shit.
I'm gonna have to take time away from Starfield, but it'll be fun content, so it'll be worth it.
Nice.
And yeah, I got that going on, and really like as far as like brackets, because I've been trying to compete more. I do always try to make it to the Let's Rock ladder tournaments, because it's like it's just not as much pressure, and it gives me like, because right now I'm trying to build like tournament experience in the sense of like, okay, because I feel like the mental pressure is feels greater with tournaments versus like playing regular ranked matches. So just being able to overcome that anxiety is kind of like one of my goals. So it's like I've always been doing the Let's Rock router pretty consistently. I don't know if Strive Showdown's going on this week, but I do try to sign up for those when that comes up. Nice. As well as Guilty Ear Reloaded and Aegis. I've been meaning to compete in Aegis because I've commentated Aegis for the longest time, and I'm like, yo, I want to go back in there as like a competitor and have someone there commentate me, and I'm also a big fan of Smoke Sessions by Morty. It's on Thursdays, as well as Fight 6 and Flash Kicks. Usually if I'm competing in one, I'm competing in both because they both run at about the same time. Double racketing, Pog. And then Friday there's the back brawl. So I might compete in that. It's really just whether or not I have the time that day to do it. And if I do, I sign up for it. If I don't, I don't. I'll have to see what time does 9 Moon start?
I believe
5.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll compete in 9 wins today. Fuck it.
Oh yeah, pull through.
See how I do. I mean, listen, I got those sin buffs. You know, gotta cook with it a little bit.
True.
You know?
Exactly.
Gotta cook with it. But all right. So I guess this was this is a wrap. Unless y'all got some last minute shout outs to do, for the podcast.
No, all good for me. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.
Yeah.
Solid. So I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
All right.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Peace, y'all.
See ya.